nationalize it, basically.
The government would own 10% of fascinating shares, yeah.
Trump publicly demanded the resignation of Intel's new appointed CEO, Lip Wu-Tang, citing problematic business relationships with China. Okay.
This may be like some kind of like, they want to have like one of the companies nationalized or in case like some kind of chip shortage from like foreign policy comes out happens. I don't know.
It's not nationalized, but you need 10%. So when you buy 10% of a company, then you will have much more power.
It's a minority share, but it is still nationalization in effect.
Well, it doesn't matter. The bare minimum is 10%.
That's fine.
As long as you own 10%, then or anything more than that. So Trump took the minimum, which is 10%. If you buy 10%, you have much more power. So they're saying basically Intel has some Chinese shit going on.
That's right.
And if the U.S. government has 10%, then the U.S. government is on the table. Yeah. I love Georgia Meloni. That's an ass that I would fan.
That's right.
It's fine.
Georgia Meloni was at the Oval Office today.
Yeah, I would fan. I would definitely fan.
The truth.
So Zelensky today was wearing a suit.
Was he really?
Was he really?
Yeah, Trump called him out and said, there's a guy who's in Portugal who said, you look amazing in this. And Trump said, oh, that's the guy who attacked you last time. And then Zelensky said, I remember. But I can't. We're in the same suit still. I love Zelensky. He's a Jew.
That's right.
He's killing all the Ukrainians. And he's getting away with it.
That is so crazy. Like, the whole war was like just like an extermination of like blonde people.
Yeah, they're Christians. No one cares about them. Let's kill them. And yeah, let's get it going.
Let's flood their country with like.
You guys are literally complaining about dead people who died in war. You fucking losers.
You the loser who got kicked out of the military? Dishonorable discharge? Sure.
No, I got an honorable discharge, and I'll tell you what, you're a fucking loser.
Nigga, why didn't you fight in the trenches? Why didn't you explode with your brother? Shit, nigga.
Yo, John, fuck someone.
You know what? He's a strong Jewish leader who may negotiate peace, unlike you losers who literally come here every day and repeat the same cycle without introducing any new information. It's the definition of being a loser. Kick me. Hurry up and kick me so I can get away from you, please.
Kick this nigga.
Oh, did you kick him?
There you go.
I like I'm a free speech absolutist, so I elect to have him stay so we can nominate him.
Are you an absolutist though? Like, agree to us.
Kick him.
Our verbal threats be against the law.
I'm not gonna kick him, but you guys can.
No verbal threats should be against the law, but I think,
But you're not an absolutist.
well, I mean, absolutist in ways that don't violate the First Amendment.
What?
Yeah, like I don't think you harassing an autistic kid, sending $1 million.
So you're not an absolutist.
Okay, but I'm not an absolutist. I'm a pro-sexist.
There's no, that's fine. But censorship is profitable.
Right, it's gatekeeping. Everything that's gatekeeping is profitable.
That's right.
I love gatekeeping. Some niggers can get in. Well, so now we know that the new CEO of Intel, Wu-Tang, he has Chinese relations. relationships, and so Donald Trump is kindly requesting resigns.
So this is some kind of like espionage operation. They're trying to take control like 10% of the state.
Again, you're not getting it. 10% is the minimum that you
I
need.
know, if they get 10%, they have like more, they have access to more information. And also they have more leverage over the company. So this is some kind of like geopolitical struggle.
Ah, child. When you own 10% again, at least 10%.
Yeah, it's corporate governance. You have more power than what I get.
Allahu Akbar.
Don't fucking read it.
When you own percent of any company again,
Yeah, you have more power than what I get.
you become an insider.
That's my whole point.
You become considered an insider to the SEC rules.
Yeah, they define a form. I forget what form it is, but I get it. Stop.
So that
Fucking moron. For real.
you can make decisions on corporate. Like you can
Randy,
Yeah,
be
not
nice.
moron.
Randy, be
I'm
nice
not
to
a
each other.
moron, but people that are morons will believe that I'm a moron.
Well, you are a moron.
Okay.
What do you care what morons think about it?
Because it's
I don't fix it, but it does affect some outcomes.
Rico, is that an airplane
I'm gonna go to an NBA game? No. I'm not gonna go to a basketball game of any.
the U.S.
Yeah, Rico, I'd be very. Make sure you wrap it up, bro.
You don't have that the
Any
U.S.
girl that's just like willing to fly down to Florida, that's a weird.
You understand that the U.S. government
Not
cannot
stable.
into the operations of certain companies.
I've been talking to girl for like 2 months.
Wait, a girl from Clubhouse?
And she has a sister in Tampa. No, it's not from Clubhouse.
Why are you guys wasting time talking about dumb shit that ain't nobody cares if Rico's talking?
That's right.
No one cares if he's talking or not. No one cares.
Or we're trying to get in the lead.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Try to get
Yes,
yourself.
we do.
Don't worry about me. I'm doing fine.
No one cares if he's doing fine. We care about are we doing fine?
That's right.
Please avoid.
So the U.S. cannot go. The U.S. government cannot go into private companies and their operations. They don't have the right to do so.
That's right. Yeah.
Because that's not going.
If they do something illegal, yeah.
Yeah, but
No, but buying
look at my God. Can't put up. This nigga can't
for
put up.
purpose.
This nigga can't put up.
Yeah, you can't shut up.
So because they're insiders, now they get to do it legally.
Ramble McDickerson.
They have actual ability to
Ramble
see what's
McDickerson.
happening.
Careful, Rico, you might kick you.
No, he just doesn't want to hear it because he insists on knowing it, but he doesn't know it.
Then tell me what you got that I already know.
Also becomes a national security asset.
That's what you said, dude. You're repeating what I said, bro.
He didn't say shit, dude.
Oh my god. You'll never. It's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking absurd.
It was a retarded nigga. That's
Right, it is absurd.
retarded nigga.
And to the next, the
It's
next
only
historic
3.64%.
meeting, the voting is
come with me.
Stumbled upon a room, a brain trust room, a pop-up room by Alan. And I gave my little speech. John, Congressman Kitover was in there, he heard me. So when he'll hear me say in my opening remarks,
Oh, we can get like
what you already heard, John. But I'll repeat it for the benefit of those that care to listen in here. I can't hear you yet, Scarlett. I haven't. I see you trying to unmic, but I don't hear you. I saw your question in the chat, so I can't hear you. You might want to try to leave the room and come back again.
all right. Is this any better?
Can anybody hear me?
I can
hear you
both.
I'm the one with the audio problem. Okay, well, I'll leave the room and come back.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Okay, well, there's something
Leave it in
personal
the
happening.
room.
Okay, there you go. All right. So Friday, there was a historic meeting between Putin and Trump. there were many people frustrated because when the meeting was over, there was not a lot of information regarding the meeting. It was 4.5 hours long, I believe, and people were frustrated by not having answers. And I think we should have maybe not expected too many answers. Trump only met with Putin, not Zelensky. But tell me what's in the news today, Marshall. Why are people optimistic? Even
In
hesitantly
the news
optimistic?
today, people are
I didn't
absolutely
ask
disgusting,
you, sir.
have no moral fiber
I
character.
didn't ask you, Marshall. Don't let
Scarlett.
Branson's room be ruined by jerks,
And
please.
so will be back in a little bit. We're talking about the news. Scarlett, all I was simply saying is that no one has any backbone. They don't have any moral character. They don't have anything that they stand on. But they sit up and virtue signal, and then they also share mod privileges with a 2-time fucking rapist who took fucking girls who were unsuspecting off Craigslist and brutally raped them.
Marshall.
And then sex trafficked them like the fucking movie Taken. Yeah, you don't want to talk about JB because he's your buddy, right, Marshall? Yeah, you don't want to talk about JB because he's your best friend.
Yeah, thank you, Scarlett. I had to step away from my phone. Appreciate that.
You can't do that. You can't invite Rich on the stage and step away from your phone.
You're right.
He's one of the accounts that needs moderation.
Okay.
Because he can't moderate himself.
Now I can hear everybody. I'm sorry.
Welcome back, Anson. We were talking about Trump's meeting on Friday with Putin, and then I asked Marshall, what is making people tentatively optimistic today? I missed something.
I'll talk about that in my opening remarks, but go ahead, Marshall, if you want to start the conversation now, go ahead.
So since we're looking for historical corollaries, I'm searching my mind for times it took times in our history that it took multiple meetings for peace. And I think the Korean War was one such war, if I recall correctly. It took some time to get some peace in. And the banana wars in the early 1920s, the Marine Corps derives their small wars manual from, I think, was a set of wars, if I recall correctly, that had multiple meetings about ending them. And so off the top of my head, those are the two questions I would have in our history would be the Spanish-American War, and how that panned out, and then turning around and looking at the rest of history, one of the questions I would have would be, does the Napoleonic War have a similar issue of peace? Did the American Civil War actually have a similar issue of peace? I know, for example, in the American Civil War, the North and the South each believed the war would last for no longer than 2 years, and it drug on for 5. And so those might be examples in which peace was tried and peace was hard to come to. Since we're looking for historical examples, that's what I can think of off the top of my head. I've got a bunch of history books, so I'll look through those and see if I can find any other examples.
What up, Jay?
But that's really what's going on. We have this.
What?
Do you like Anson?
He's a talker. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't really dislike anybody on this app. I think everybody plays their little part in a giant cog, and to dislike or like somebody is irrelevant, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just curious,
Yeah, this is one giant communication puzzle. And if you don't, you know, that's like saying, I don't like this puzzle piece.
You're ugly.
This puzzle piece is ugly to me. I will not play with this puzzle piece.
Fine.
Don't want to play with this puzzle piece anymore. Putting it away, putting it in the box, putting the box under the bed, dusting off the floor.
Get off my property. We'll see you later.
Okay, talk to you soon.
have an expression that I enjoy, and I think it kind of reframes everything. It's that there's not a speck of dust out of place in the entire universe. So the way that things have played out between Trump and Putin and the entire television broadcast and information and all that, I mean, I just like that saying, there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. And I think peace and greater stability is right around the corner.
That is my hope and my aspiration. And we can break time in this as well. But as you also heard me say, now, if Europe truly steps up and shoulders a much greater burden than they have, not just in their military spending, but in what I think of as the geopolitical backs off enough that peace is possible with significant land, at least de facto, given up by Ukraine. Not de jure, but de facto. I hope everybody understands what I mean by that. And maybe we'll see a peace treaty.
It blows my mind that people will come on this app though, and if you tell them that a peace treaty is a possibility, it's like a gaslight to people, and that I cannot understand why people would allow themselves to get gaslit by hearing that a peace treaty is possible.
Well, that's because most of the people come on this app with preconceived, very strong, highly partisan, vicious opinions, never to be swayed from the same. So, everybody gets gaslit from one side or the other. And the ability to find compromise, even in clubhouse, is damn near impossible. But we're going to push out there. Okay? And looks like everybody's leaving, so I'm going to keep the room open. You and I can talk. I love string theory, quantum theory, relativity on the layman's level. I love to read that stuff. So yes, the respectedness of the universe as its specific place in the universe, in the beginning and the moment. I'll also point out to the highest of our concerned people present. They're not sure at all exactly where they are, but everything has its place in the universe will still turn regardless of what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at what the Irish Times is putting out, or what New York Times put out, they say that Trump is Krasnov, and he's an early Soviet espionage victim, and that all of this is Putin blackmail. It's, to me, it's insane, but I think the war machine will put out counter narratives to try to prolong the war, create suspicion, cause more chaos, and I know most Americans want peace, but there's always that element of a wild card or a freak radical that refuses peace. And the videos coming out of Kiev with all of the drone bombings, it's unbelievable. And I like to think they're going to have a peace deal, but part of me thinks that the status quo is a 99.9% chance. So it is literally a 0.1% chance that a peace deal or peace in our times is possible. Because it does seem like war is the status quo. Especially, I don't know, it just seems like the status quo.
I think in general, war is the way the world has worked ever since humans started walking the earth. They come and they go, but war has always been a means to settle disputes. We like to try and figure out ways to manage that. That's the beginning of the Greek philosophy, beyond specifically what's going to happen today, tomorrow, in the coming days, weeks, and maybe months. There's a chance, we'll wait and see. And it'll be interesting to see how the media handles today, after everything closes down in the White House, later on this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and close. Go ahead.
Nancy, I remember you being very frustrated on Friday that there was so little information after the 4.5 meeting. But today it seems like you're cautiously okay. Am I reading that right? And what changed?
You're absolutely reading it right, because the Trump audacity said we made great progress, but he didn't give any example whatsoever. So was that just Trump BS, or did they really make progress? Today, it it seems, based on what Woodcock has said over the weekend, what Trump said before the press today, that Putin maybe, just maybe, has agreed to meaningful security guarantees for Ukraine to prevent a restart of Russian aggression. He hasn't been specific on that, but he has agreed in principle to allowing the West to provide such security guarantees. If that happens, that is a major, major step forward to achieving peace. We don't know if it's going to happen. And Europe, the assembled people in Europe speaking before the press, before they went private, showed more unity than I've ever seen in such gatherings in terms of European unity, not only in their aspirations of peace. They didn't moralize for peace today. They demonstrated the willingness to put their money and their treasure and their military, as weak as it may be, to put that on the table and join with boots on the ground and money in the bank to sustain strong, it won't be NATO guarantees, but NATO-like guarantees between individual European nations and Ukraine, and maybe the United States. So with that progress, that glimmer, that opening up of very interesting possibilities, I'm far more optimistic today than I was after watching that disastrous press conference last Friday. You understand what I'm trying to say, Scarlett?
Yes, sir. All right. I think this has been a great room. Not all rooms have to last an hour. Short and sweet. We'll make it work too. And more people might be tempted to listen to a 20-minute room than an hour long or 2 hour long room. So thank you for hosting today, and I look forward to your room tomorrow.
Okay, great. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and close the room, guys, and you guys take care, and I'll probably open it back up tomorrow and see what takes place.
It's not that they want their tits at football matches. I think that the women want to just like have their hair out. My question is for Scotty. Scotty, do you wear a hijab?
No, but look, Ewan, while that's a normal sentiment from Iranian women at the end of the day, no one's...
Do you wear it?
I know, that's a weird question to ask.
Stupid. If you're gonna troll, at least be funny, man.
What's wrong with you?
What color is
Oh no, okay.
It's already, or you're waiting on that?
I'm waiting on it. I think they're thirsty this year. They keep calling me.
Did you go last year?
I want to buy packages. I've been both years.
Be an online friend to be concerned?
Look at who's in the audience. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Stop talking about it.
He's raised his hand to speak. You have exactly 60 seconds to say what you have to say. It better not be rude or out of line.
I'd like to take this 60 seconds by reading a little poem from the Tao Te Ching.
No.
Way of showing.
What's up, Josh? What's up?
What up,
Yeah, I've
gentlemen?
been busy, man, so I haven't been speaking for the last hour. I've been super busy doing stuff. But
Well, he said something that I didn't understand what he said. I'm so curious to know. I don't know if you heard, but
no, I didn't hear anything, man. Been too busy, like I said. What do you think he said?
I don't know. Because I was like, this reality is absurd. The world needs to help Israel because this is an abusive existence.
You know that, right?
Dude, Romney Care in Massachusetts was the same thing as Obamacare. It was like the same fucking thing.
Hello? Recording? Lala, do you get a lot of value out of trolling?
Man, you're talking about like the consultant.
And they're trying to hang on.
Hey, I say 2 more words. You know my name, right? Baby girl? Scarlett? The fuck? You mad? Bitch, I would have had 10 times. Oh no, honey finger sledge. I am so busy. Why you gotta be so rude? Butterfingers. Are we gonna act like a jungle creature? You will be treated like a jungle creature, and it's like no problem. I'd like to have a conversation, but I don't know if Corinne has the ability. How was your day, Dennis? It's on vacay.
I just wanted to say that our next replay should definitely be philosophy. I'm casting my vote now.
John, we should also talk about something big.
What do you like to be? What would you like to see?
I think a lot of the international commitments. And the second thing is, it's clear to me that other than the theater in Israel, Trump is actually reducing the global footprint.
Let me see. I have to look at the results. What if I don't like any of the above? I mean, on an option. Yeah. I'll have to think about that one.
Definitely more willing to engage directly with the Israeli theater. It's not very backed by evidence, right? The second possibility, which is the only other one left, is that they have made a tacit agreement with the Russians that linguistically they can offer a guarantee, which Putin is willing to say that I will not violate in the short term. And having that assurance, Trump is relaying that message to the European counterparts and maybe making a gesture of the so-called security guarantee. And I think that's more credible because actually, if you're looking at the unilateral actions by the Russians, it's not clear to me they even have the appetite to actually further engage Ukraine and taking over not even the eastern
I was just gonna say the same thing.
river.
Hey, I'm going
It's not clear to me that they're so interested in.
Okay, say hi.
In China, for example,
what cases of Europe has reached any other arbitrary subjects, geopolitics?
What comments do you have?
How long ago was that?
Doing the right thing.
this is a few years ago.
Letting Europe stand up to Russia.
So here's the thing, right? As I said,
Letting Israel stand
are
up to
already
we should.
finding
Turning our
that
attention to
a
what
lot
will
of
be
these
their fifth rival,
countries have taken
potential
are
adversary, but not really, I don't think really adversary.
China or not? Are you saying that other nations are not listening? Nations, the other nations consider Europe as hypocritical, that there's not hypocrisy in their governments?
Well, it doesn't matter, but what I'm saying is, if you say countries,
Why doesn't it matter? Why doesn't it matter?
let me explain. I mean, you could say that countries like China do not have a moral standing to abuse other people, which, China never positions itself to be the righteous country. China is one country, right? But what's funny is that
China never speak out about human rights violations in other nations.
well, as a response, the US have position on China, right? That's different. Because I said I was going to address all of these things. And in many ways, I think we have a larger response because that was,
This happens every year.
talking about these things. The thing is,
Well, if I spend more time to explain your position, don't get defensive about it.
oh no, I'm not defensive. I'm just saying, right? If you don't point to fingers, then you don't have to position yourself as being right. You don't have to be the most boring guy.
So because there is hypocrisy in administration, because France has invaded Libya, that France has no standing to discuss the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. That's your argument?
No, I think France has all its sovereignty to discuss this. It's just that it will not be as
Then I am lost and so do I am unsure as well as to why you even raised that issue.
Yeah, I was about to address that, right? So my first point is, even though Europe positioned itself, or Western nations positioned themselves, not the minority position, that's the argument of moral and right. It's not correct. That's the first thing, right? The second thing, which is more practical, is that even though Europe thinks that by stopping the Russian invasion of Ukraine, it's safeguarding its own safety. That is also not true because if you compare the situation of Europe back in 1994, for example, or 1998, their security in terms of the buffers they have against Russians have increased, not decreased. Even though if they lose the battlefield of Ukraine, they still have a buffer state of the Western Ukraine, not to mention the Baltic states, not to mention that the Finnish government
Okay,
is
Tiger, I gotta let you go. You've talked way too long already, but I gotta tell you, what you're really good at, and I have to congratulate you, is to redirect the discussion from the discussion at hand to talk about all of the horrible things
Anson, did you
the
hear
Western
in
world,
Culture's interview with the
democracies
trigonometry
of the world
host?
stand for. So you use any discussion that we are having
How do you
to
feel
direct
about
our
Ian
attention
Coulter?
to that. And you're good at it. You're very good at it. And so I give you credit for it, but enough is enough. Howard, are you there or are you on the phone? I think Howard's on the phone. Meryl, you got my irony before with Marshall. Would you like to explain it to him?
Of course I can. He has, in the first place, sarcasm is practically never racist.
She's a non-entity that in 2015, 2016, the
Not
spring,
to be sarcastic. In
she
certain
was
things, and
asked
I
on
think
a
that with
liberal
regard to
stage,
Trump
I
and
don't know
his
what
wars
stage
in
it was,
nuclear war,
nor might.
what did I write? I think I
Who
said
do
that.
you see
War,
of
I think
the
that
Republican nominees right now who
Donald
would
Trump
be
Jr.'s
president?
fiance.
And she said,
Because he got
Donald Trump. And everybody laughed at her.
I think that this is
And
ridiculous.
then he became
Just put it
president.
Today,
So,
Mrs. Gavel
I
said
think
that
calling
he
her a
has
wingnut,
stopped
if she's
6
accurate,
resolved
might be not
6
generous. But
So,
you can.
and I'm thinking, what? Huh? What? And then you wrote out exactly what I was thinking.
I just, like I said, sometimes it takes more
Unapologetically.
energy not to be sarcastic.
Unapologetically fiery.
It really does. I think sarcasm is an appropriate way to respond to you. And it's not wasted. Now, Scott asked a question about, or brought up the fact that there are many people who are pro-Russia. And he wondered about that. And you kind of hinted about it, talked about it a little bit, just hinted at it. I think everybody has to look at it in a bigger picture. These are MAGA people. Trump was always pro-Russia. His introduction to them, their introduction, their meeting him in 2016 was that he was pro-Russia. He's always been. And these are some of the MAGA people are people who he appealed to had nothing to do with politics. He appealed to Mexico, paying for the wall, different things. And then they all of a sudden now attach themselves to whatever he says and whatever he believes. And there's no way for anybody to perceive, in my opinion, Trump as ever being anything but pro-Russia. So I have an issue with that. Regarding all the people that came with him today, this is people. Zelensky armed himself with people who know what they're talking about. These aren't people that are real estate investors that were talking to Putin. These are people that know their stuff. They know what they're talking about. And they know the commitment they're going to have to make. They also are smart enough to know whether we can trust Trump. So Trump, what he did with Putin the other day, that is not. If anybody thinks that giving him that hero's moment when he is a war criminal, that did not. That's
do you think that
Putin laughing at him. That's just a laugh. It really is. I don't know what
I think it's honestly a terrible idea for Russia to keep everything that they've captured thus far.
And I thought
they've got all those natural resources.
Even the land that is during Obama's presidency.
But he also put in, he had his own vehicles there. Putin did. Why in the world would Trump put him in the beast? I just, everything about what Trump did showed me he's, when it comes to negotiations, and what he's talking about, it was already preconceived. It was already a done deal. It was going to give Putin pretty much what Putin wanted. And he just didn't gauge the response that he was going to get from the world. He did not, even Fox, I think, didn't support how he made the hero's welcome to Putin. And I don't think that Trump really prepared himself for the fact that now we're going to have some real talks. And he doesn't know what he's talking about. And Marco Rubio saying, well, you know, we've done security this and security that. What people say we have agreed on, and what is actually memorialized in writing, is that there's a big difference. And we have to see what is actually memorialized in writing. What is the agreement? Not what does somebody say on the Sunday shows is the agreement. What is the agreement that is memorialized? I cannot stress that enough. That is a legal binding agreement. Now, do we ever trust Trump to do something like what he said he's going to do? I'm not sure on this one. I want to see this one, how this one lays out. I also think that Putin will wait 3 years and take a chance on who's going to be the president in 3 years. So I just, this whole thing, I'm holding my breath. I think it is so horrible. But I'm glad that Zelensky came. I didn't even care about the suit. He made a real good point with it. He said, I promised everybody I would wear a suit until the war was over, till my people weren't fighting the war. I have no problem. So he wore a suit, but he brought people with him. There were people who knew they needed to go because they knew they
they saw the direction Trump was going. And they want to make sure that Trump understands there are people in this world who know what they're talking about, and Trump doesn't. I'm sorry. Thank you.
But that, I was thinking, I think that's, talking to somebody I was thinking when the president said I resolved 6 wars, and it just, everybody's thinking, okay, this is just.
Correct. I don't know. I think not only economically for Ukraine, but giving Russia control of the Black Sea, giving Russia control of all of those resources, they're going to control a lot of the energy for Europe, and I just don't know that that's a good idea either.
Natural gas in Washington, and how in 2 days climate has ended in Washington because they have. He speaks with a degree of seriousness, and I don't know whether that's an act or whether he really believes this. It's interesting to try to analyze that. But can you imagine if the previous president of the United States sat in the Oval Office with world leaders and declared, I resolved 6 wars? Well, people were going crazy that, once again, Joe Biden, he's losing more marbles. It's just unbelievable that this guy could say it, and nobody says he's losing his marbles. Maybe he isn't. And maybe Biden did, or maybe Biden didn't lose some of his marbles along the way. I don't know. But the way, Jan, you're having real trouble restraining yourself. I don't understand why, but you have to wait until we get to you. And if you keep interrupting, we'll remove you from the stage. These are the rules. So I just find that really interesting. How we treat our respect or our responsibility to this president when he makes these phone calls. Remember, he said on 3 different occasions publicly he was going to Russia to meet with Putin when it was Alaska. And we all say, well, he just misspoke himself, which we all do. But Biden, he never would have said that. Thank you, Merrill, and we'll now go to
Even though they lost this war, they can win the peace.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Marshall. Want to know Tim Merrill? Gary, how are you today?
I am good, but I'm getting better.
Thank you very much. Is the pressure now on Putin? I think that the most pressure is on President Zelensky as a patriot, giving up land for Russia just for peace. I think that Putin will finally accept the suggestion of President Trump. But something here very shocked me, that why President Trump clapped in Alaska for Putin. I think that when you are presenting the land to Russia, there's no need to clap for Putin. There's no need to clap for Putin as a dictator. You know, Putin, the tenor of President Biden attacked Ukraine because the authority of President Biden neglected the danger of President Putin. And now, I think that we or the Western authority must gain advantage. Okay. Nice.
Hey, David, you got my brother.
At this timestamp, whatever it is,
Yes.
when we end this room,
must gain
it's
more
a replay
advantages,
from
more
earlier. It was
privileges
short and sweet, about a 30-minute
from
covered the
President Putin.
highlights and our
When
hopes
you
for
are
a positive
presenting
outcome.
1/5
I know Friday,
territorial
Norm, you
integrity
were
of
kind of annoyed and irritated too
Ukraine to
by
Russia.
the lack of information coming out of the 4.5-hour meeting. Are you more hopeful today, or the same amount
Sorry
of
that I
irritated
cannot
and annoyed,
speak
or what?
fluently and accurately.
You're doing very well. You're doing very well. Don't worry about it.
Certain I can speak for him.
Because
He's
despite I am
He finally got
the only one Iranian which fulfilled 2 times 100% in English language test in university in the entrance exam, but in the period of jail, I must be exerted head electroshock.
Alright, so we have a choice, because they really don't want to
accurately.
turn off the replays. I'd rather end the room and create a non-replay room for social, or we continue on like this. But, Senator, what would you like to do?
And if it
We
helps
can,
you to
turn off the replays
regain
and start a social
your
if you want.
skills,
Well, I was gonna say start a new room.
you're more
Yeah,
than
yeah.
welcome to come up to the stage
Yeah, keep the
and express
replay and
yourself
start it. That's what I
anytime. We
meant.
all understand your
I just
situation.
saw here too
and we
that,
all
did
were
you
able
see
to
that,
understand you. So don't worry about it.
Zelensky dismissed the plans
To
for
your
comment
point about
between
the
Trump and Putin?
applause and the
Warning
red
them.
carpet, I'll just point out that when the head of NATO, heads of 3 European nations, in addition to the head of Ukraine, also a European nation, came to the White House.
I heard him complaining about it
Photo op
before.
with the red carpet
Maybe it's no longer.
outside
It just popped up.
the White House, and the President of the United States walking out and applauding Mr. Zelensky as he walked up the red carpet. So it's not just by happenstance that we saw what we saw in Alaska, and that's why I reject the previous observation, which others may agree with and not agree with me, and that's fine, that that's meaningless. I don't think it's meaningless at all. It sends a message to the world, and the world is watching. Thank you.
I would like your feedback on the closer interview with trigonometry. I don't think Norm was there
Europe
in
has
his,
got a history with the Russian Empire after World War II with Stalin and the USSR.
You know what? Romaran Authority, the owners, like any other pointers, the owners are very corrupt. Like they very.
Europe understands that, but at the same time, they were kind of lazy as hell, right?
And
you know, after World War II,
they talked about her.
the U.S. was providing all the security umbrella, and so Mr. Trump likely, has asked them to have NATO.
If they don't, are xenophobic,
European
if
part of
they
NATO
prefer to have someone from America who's been here for a couple of generations serve as leader of our country, there's cultural concerns that she said that I don't feel embarrassed saying that I have cultural concerns. And so they pushed her hard, and they should have. Because, it is an ugly thing to say. And I think she held up well under the scrutiny, and I was glad that they pushed her.
Within living memory too. And
Naveen, I'm wondering if I can convince you to donate to the campaign to elect John Kitover. I've partnered with Ann today. We're going to unite her walkaway movement with the campaign to elect John. Naveen, are you interested in making a donation to the campaign today?
Is this true?
John, what are you running?
16th district in Illinois for Congress against Darren LaHood, a rhino vaccinologist, super debt creator.
Wait, I heard that Adams is going for LaHood.
Correct. Dr. Adams is a treacherous femboy on this app, and he has joined with the LaHood campaign to fight me. But we are going to defeat both of those dragons.
Who's the Republican?
Darren LaHood. And I'm running as a Republican against Darren in the primary. We need your petition, signature, financial support now. Primary guy John. That's the right name.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Sure. Is it and just be direct with me, is it a red, like, by supporting you, is it, or supporting any Republican, is it a district that can be won, or is it like something that's always been blue, but we're hoping to flip it?
No, it's always been red, but it could be flipped by a Democrat. You never really know. But this guy, Darren, has $12 million in the bank. We've got $520 from Clubhouse.
You can do it. You can do it.
Well, we need your shekels. You get a lot of federal Navy contracts. We need you to help pass around a couple clown house shekels, help the campaign. We're fighting Darren LaHood the Dragon. And if Dr. Adams is supporting him, I think it's a good bet to bet on John, not Dr. Adams. Thank you.
Russia from taking territory from Ukraine.
I think the latter.
No, she stepped away from her phone.
Yeah, I know that's an academic question.
This is so weird.
Considering,
Like, you don't want this reputation. Everybody's gonna be having a grand time talking, you know, sharing about who you dare to go there.
well, we push them. We, the world community, including the United States, put them in that position because we convinced them to give up their nuclear arsenal in exchange for a guarantee that they would not be invaded. And then they were invaded once, and now they're invaded a second time, and the people were saying, well, too bad, it's a fait accompli, and we should be giving him arms to protect himself, to me, this is kind of like,
I don't know who you're talking about.
Alice in a looking glass, right? It's like, by what measure does this make any sense? But
The guy that records the
face, Russia might invade and Scotland. I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something basic. And now we go to the gentleman who's always a delight on this stage. Now he's using the nickname Congressman in the anticipation of his tremendous victory and becoming a congressman representing the great state of Illinois. John, it's all yours.
Hey Gary, thanks for having me up. That's correct. I'm running in the 16th district of Illinois versus Darren LaHood, a rhinologist, vaccinologist, super debt creator. And I put some queries into Grok that I'd like to share with you to help summarize the past 72 hours of Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Zelensky, as well as what type of weapon systems and soldiers might be deployed to Ukraine in the event that a security guarantee is made. So this is the past 72 hours. Trump met with Putin on 8/16, urged no ceasefire needed, pushed Zelensky on 8/18 in a White House meeting with the EU to cede Crimea, drop NATO, accept land swaps for peace, offer U.S. security guarantees, plans trilateral talks. Zelensky seeks guarantees, rejects concessions. The next 30 days. Trilateral meeting by early September. Possible prisoner release and ceasefire. Full deal elusive due to territorial disputes, but U.S. pressure may yield Ukrainian compromises. This is the next query. Hey Grok, if the U.S. gives Ukraine security guarantees and deploys U.S. soldiers to Ukraine, what are the top 10 most likely weapon systems and U.S. military units to deploy to Kiev and other areas of Ukraine? In a hypothetical U.S. deployment to Ukraine for security guarantees, focusing on defense in Kyiv and Q regions, the top 10 most likely weapon systems and units based on expert analysis like RAND reports would be Patriot air defense systems, HIMARS rocket artillery, F-35 stealth fighters, Abrams tanks, Apache attack helicopters, the 82nd Airborne Division, the 101st Airborne Division, the 10th Mountain Division, Special Forces Groups, and Air Defense Artillery Brigades. So, as a candidate congressman running in Illinois who believes we should cut the National Defense Authorization Act and our national military industrial complex by $200 billion a year, I am against the U.S. sending any soldiers or military equipment and any additional funding to Ukraine. And I hope that these trilateral talks over the next 30 days can bring peace. Thanks, Gary. I hope that was complete.
Thank you, John. That was probably an accurate assessment by Grok, but I just want to point out that today, Les, you're going to love this. I asked Grok, did Sirhan assassinate Robert F. Kennedy because of his support for Israel? And Grok's response was, Robert F. Kennedy was not assassinated. So, in this case, I guess Grok may have been spot on, but folks, be very careful about simply relying on AI to get our responses. AI is a good starting point, but they don't always show the resources. You know, there's no footnote, no link to the resources. And when there is, you should click on those and then make your own assessments on whether you accept the veracity of the resources to which they are referring the AI programs before quoting it. And if they don't show the reference, ask a follow-up question. What's your reference for your response? And make the program tell you. Because it's really, really dangerous to just accept it at face value. In this case, listening carefully to what John was saying, I think it was pretty accurate. David, TJN, Daniel, and Howard will get the last word.
Hey, Gary, I'm not sure if it matters either, but Sirhan was also an Orthodox Christian Palestinian.
Yeah, he was a Christian Palestinian, yeah.
So, I don't know if you know that either. Yeah, I think the first summit with Putin in Alaska, Gary, clearly highlighted the driver's seat that Putin finds himself in. And, you know, the more time that he's bought from Trump with regard to the fact that they didn't even really arrive at anything. It was an ops campaign by Putin. We let Putin back into the sunlight of Western nations, validating his position as the premier leader of Russia, everything he's done in Ukraine. So we sort of have given him that win, and his Russian media has lapped this up, and far from painting him as the pariah, he's seen more as a national hero now than ever, if the media is to be believed over there. So he's got the wind in his sails. Zelensky's on the ropes. You know, if this was a prize fight, we'd have to come up with something quick for Zelensky. Putin's always, Gary, as you know, even he championed this manifesto that he wrote in the run-up to his invasion of Ukraine, where he basically sees Ukraine as a Russian asset, part of the Russian Empire, going back centuries. He sees Ukraine as well as the other Baltic nations, I think, as well, that fall under the NATO umbrella. So the fact that he's buying time, he's really seeing, I think he has his sights on the whole country, not just these border disputes or these areas that he wants in the negotiations. So I think if we look at his writings and his intent, he's not going to stop until he gobbled up every last piece of that country. And I think he wants to get Zelensky out of the way. I think the longer Zelensky languishes with this war unresolved, his popularity may dwindle where he may be replaced. Who knows? Which would be bad for the country, because I think he's fought valiantly given the resources that we provided and the heroic effort that his country has waged against immigration. But the other thing I want to bring up, Gary, and I've heard it argued that if Trump isn't further sanctioning Putin in a way that would cause real pain to his country, and clearly this has not been a free ride for Putin at all, irrespective of the military economy that his country's enjoyed. There's a loss of manpower, the million plus victims of this war, plus the injuries. But it's argued that Trump's finance crypto company, led by Steve Witkoff's son Zach Witkoff and his son Eric, World Liberty Finance, is being used as a shell to receive compensation from dictators, world leaders, and the like. And some have argued that Trump is being bought off via crypto, where he's able to leverage the influence of the White House. And it's very difficult to prove because we can't trace the money. We can't trace the transactions. And so it's very difficult to see who's buying influence and at what level with Trump and at what cost. We know that his fortunes have been enriched to the tune of about $2.4 billion with this crypto scheme that has been set up. And so is he being bought? Is he being bought by Putin, and at what level? What else explains the level of cajoling and fun, creating this meetup with Putin as some sort of reunion of sorts between two great powers, fully ignoring the press, the cacophony of press questions that were being leveled at him and Putin regarding when is the killing going to stop? And of course, they might have thrown in there, when are you going to return the orphans, the lost, the children, as you alluded to in your opening salvo. So, anyway, Putin's got a lot going for him with this war so far. Trump is not helping the Ukrainian cause. I think giving this summit with the European leaders and Zelensky, while it looks more serious than the first go around, where he was basically embarrassed in the White House by Vance and Trump with the questions that they threw at him. We'll see. I think if anything, the glove's got to come off economically with the sanctions, and we'll see where that goes. I'll land there.
Thank you, David. We'll next go to TJN, and I'll preface it by thanking you for your patience and adherence to the rules. You're up, TJN.
Thank you very much, Gary. Thank you for giving me the floor. Well, where do we start? Okay, we start with the visit at Anchorage. Well, I find it quite ironic that Trump invited Putin in the former Russian territory, which was hilarious. And it was quite badass from the United States to give Putin the awesome show of force of the United States Air Force. That was cool. It's quite customary to welcome world leaders like that. I think it's something which Trump copied from the Saudi Arabians. They've been welcoming Putin and leaders from the United States exclusively in such a manner. And the military parade the United States tried to do wasn't the best, to be honest. But in terms of trying to get its prestige back, in that regard, the air show of the B-2 bombers and the F-35s, I give 5 out of 5. Well done. In terms of the whole, there should be concessions and stuff like that, that's not really going to happen. Look, I don't understand why is it a bad thing for Trump to have good relations with its partner, its neighbor, Russia. Because I think from my point of view, from the global south point of view, isn't it a good thing to have superpowers, to have dialogue and talk instead of touching each other's toes? Because the less we touch each other's toes, the more cooperation, peace and harmony and actual economic growth of all respective countries involved would be net positive than actually touching each other's toes.
So we actually in the Cold War.
Therefore, they have to commit a crime. They've articulated it. They have to stand. They have a reasonable cause to ask me for my ID that I have to produce. No choice, because I possibly committed a crime. They just can't randomly go to strangers and go, "Need your ID?" And she made a lot of money from the book too.
And the book wasn't the total.
That's the truth. Completely different.
Did somebody say Toira?
Oh God.
Toira. We're gonna teach us some Toira, please. Toira time.
Wow, a room finally where Palestinians are thankful for the IDF liberating them from the Islamic jihadist terrorists that have destroyed their civilization. Wow, I'm so happy to finally be in the final summary room of this multi-year war. This is fantastic. Ribono Shel Olam.
Yeah, look at the video yourself. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. I'm a chef in the IDF.
You're a chef.
Yep, and I'm in the IDF.
Nice.
B'nai Aliyah. B'nai Aliyah. It's my favorite new word of the day. B'nai Aliyah.
What does it mean?
It's the higher levels of intelligence.
Interesting. Okay. Never heard about it.
Can you speak Arabic, by the way?
It's in the Tanya. El Norma read about it today.
Hi. تفهم هذا لما أحكي معك بالعربي؟
صح.
Okay.
كيف حالك حبيبتي؟
منيحة أنت كيف؟
Pennywise, did you hear El Normo reading the Tanya today, Pennywise?
No, I did not hear that.
Oh, it was beautiful. El Normo, tell them about the magnificent Torah you read.
I don't know what to say. It was just, it was a perfect selection. You invited me to do it, and it changed my day, no doubt about it.
I think Brad down there should probably listen to some of the Tanya, because he's got a lot of anger issues I think he's got to deal with.
Guys, should we read about Lamech in Genesis, the first polygamist? And
Congress, do you have like
song?
17 iPhones in that PTR on tripods?
You're correctly looking at the PTR. That is the photo that you are viewing. Correct.
Isn't that funny?
That's
All these streaming
crazy.
services.
Yeah, Congress definitely works on the Mossad.
Because I see him like
Does anyone here know what the word Mossad means in English?
Enlighten us.
It means supreme intelligence.
If it means supreme intelligence, I should be working there.
No, I didn't see it.
I said it. They should be calling me up.
Well, you're in something called Clown House. This is a circus tent. There's no supreme intelligence here. This is a clown university. Look at Pennywise. She's one of our clown applicants. And look how well she's responding to the circus tent.
She's a Mossad agent. Yeah, look at And a Palestinian.
That's right. And Lebanese.
And Lebanese.
We have Hizb Shaitan from one side.
That's right, man. She used to work for Hezbollah and then she got fired.
That photo. I know it's truth. Don't mess with the Zohan.
That's not me, El Normie.
Let